T-minus 31 seconds. The handoff to Atlantis' onboard computers has occurred.
20.
15 seconds. Range safety systems armed. Sound suppression system water activated. T-minus 10, 9, 8. Go for main engine start. 7, 6. Main engine ignition. 4, 3, 2, 0. And liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis as Columbus sets sail on a voyage of science to the space station.
Houston now controlling.
Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Columbus weighs anchor from its port in Florida. Atlantis on the proper alignment, heads down, wings level for the 8.5-minute ride to orbit, taking aim on the International Space Station for docking on Saturday. 28 seconds into the flight. The 3 liquid fuel main engines soon will throttle back to 72% of rated performance, going in the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it breaks through the sound barrier. Atlantis 3 miles in altitude, 7 miles downrange. 50 seconds into the flight. The engine's beginning to throttle back up, standing by for that call from Capcom Jim Dutton.
Atlantis, go at throttle up.
Atlantis copies, go at throttle up.
The throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Steve Frick, joined on the flight deck by pilot Alan Poindexter, Rex Walheim, and Leland Melvin. Seated down on the middeck are Stan Love and Hans Schlegel and Leopold Aarts of the European Space Agency. Aarts hitching a ride to his new home on the International Space Station. 1 minute, 30 seconds into the flight. Atlantis already 15 miles in altitude, 16 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, traveling 2,000 miles an hour. Three good main engines, 3 good fuel cells, 3 auxiliary power units, all functioning normally. Standing by for solid rocket booster separation. Booster officer confirms a good solid rocket booster separation, good staging. Guidance now converging, the onboard computers commanding the main engines to swivel, aiming Atlantis for its precise keyhole in space for main engine cutoff. Beginning to roll to a heads-up position now. Atlantis' computers commanding the main engines to swivel. Rolling to the heads-up position provides Atlantis with more favorable communications through the tracking and data relay satellite system heading toward orbit.
Atlantis, single engine Zaragoza 104.
Single engine Zaragoza 104.
Atlantis, press to MECO.
Press to MECO.
Velocity of 17,500 miles an hour. 20 seconds of powered flight remaining. Booster officer confirms main engine cutoff, now standing by for the commands for external tank separation.
Atlantis, no action on the cabin DPDT at Seducer.
Copy, no action.
Spectacular view of Atlantis separating from its external tank. Atlantis now in its preliminary orbit. The Columbus module, Europe's new science center in space.
Nominal MECO, OHMS 1 is not required.
Nominal MECO, OHMS 1 not required. Thanks, Mash.
Commander Steve Frick now maneuvering Atlantis to the correct orientation so that video and digital stills of the fuel tank can be captured by cameras embedded in the shuttle's umbilical well for post-flight analysis. A smooth and uneventful ascent. Atlantis now in its preliminary orbit, the Columbus Science Module headed to the International Space Station. Twin sonic booms heralding Atlantis' arrival at the Florida spaceport. This view now out of the heads-up display of the pilot point of view camera. Alan Poindexter, the pilot, now taking a turn at the stick.
Atlantis, on at the 180.
Copy, on at the 180.
Commander Steve Frick has taken the stick back, executing an overhead left-hand turn to align Atlantis with runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, the northwest to southeast approach.
Atlantis, on at the 90.
Copy, on at the 90.
Runway should be in sight momentarily.
Houston, Atlantis, runway's in sight.
Copy, field in sight, Atlantis.
Punching through a deck of clouds at about 11,000 feet. Atlantis now aligned with runway 15. Commander Steve Frick will execute the pre-flare of Atlantis' nose. Landing gear down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Poindexter now deploying the drag chute. Nose gear touchdown. Atlantis rolling out on runway 15 at the Kennedy Space Center, wrapping up a 5.3 million mile mission to expand the global village of space. Dan Tawney, home after 120 days in orbit.